días a todos. El día de hoy damos inicio al último día del ciclo de conferencias de esta Convención de Negocios Proveedora Automotriz 2021. De la empresa Arrival nos acompaña Ben Jardine, quien es vicepresidente de Estrategia de Producto, enfocado en las actividades de desarrollo de negocio y en la definición de futuros productos para vehículos dentro del equipo de estrategia de Arrival. Fue invitado a unirse a Church Research and Development, una nueva empresa tecnológica, en enero de 2015 como director de proyectos. En julio de 2017, Church pasó a llamarse Arrival y se creó un nuevo puesto como jefe de producto, responsable del desarrollo de los productos para vehículos comerciales pesados. Anteriormente, en 2008, Ben se unió a Plastisol. Como director de operaciones de la empresa, tenía la responsabilidad de llevar nuevos proyectos de la empresa, además de crear un exitoso centro de fabricación. Los desarrollos claves incluyeron el estado de arte de los rayos X móviles para Electric Communication y un minibús completo para Opter, disponible tanto en versión diésel como eléctrica. Ben pasó a trabajar para TVAC, el mayor centro de conversión de vehículos de Reino Unido. Después de graduarse en la Universidad de Central Lancashire como ingeniero de diseño de deportes de motor, Ben se unió a TVR desarrollando coches deportivos de carretera y coches de carreras. Bienvenido, Ben. Antes de dar inicio a la conferencia, nos acompaña David Shepard, asesor del sector automotriz y movilidad futura del Departamento de Comercio Internacional, región de Midlands, quien nos dará un mensaje sobre tecnologías del Reino Unido para la industria del automóvil, UK Technologies for the Automotive Industry. Bienvenidos.
My name is David Shepard. I work for the Department for International Trade in the UK Midlands. I'd like to start though by saying thank you very much for the opportunity to present to this, the 11th edition of Proveedor Automotriz. What I want to do in the next 10 minutes or so is give you an overview of the automotive sector in the Midlands UK and what this might mean in terms of opportunities for all of us. I'd like to start by showing you where it is, as what we find when we talk to people is that people know where the UK is, but don't know where the Midlands is. And you can see from this, it's that tranche in the middle in blue, The major sort of cities in the area are Birmingham, Coventry, Nottingham, Leicester, and so on. But as well as being the geographic centre of the country, it's also the automotive centre, with over half of the UK's automotive activity taking place in the Midlands. I think the region is home to 7 volume car manufacturers, 7 commercial vehicle manufacturers, and 16 of the world's top 20 automotive tier 1 suppliers. But I think also what's worth noting is that it's a region of choice for automotive brands to establish technical centres and research and development centres, not just in passenger car, but also commercial vehicles, off-road and two-wheelers, as you can see here, from the brands which are represented in the Midlands. These are all supported by the breadth and depth of the supply chain, with over 1,300 supply chain companies in the region. So in summary, there's a range of capabilities which cover all aspects of automotive activity. I was listening to somebody the other day who summed it up really elegantly when he said that the UK Midlands is aligned with global auto megatrends. And what he meant by that was really, if it's happening in the world, it's also happening in the Midlands. And critical to all of this and supporting all of it is a world-class R&D ecosystem. The UK government has invested over the last several years a lot of money into automotive R&D, with most of it centred in the Midlands. And what that has resulted in, and you can see from the graph on the left-hand side, that that the UK researches as the European #1 in terms of collaboration between university and industry, and the global #2. So in other words, the links between academia and industry are so close and so well developed, and we see the benefit in that in terms of the way that technology is developed, the way it's realized, the way it's come to market. And you can see from this, the other element on the slide, some of the institutions which are involved in automotive R&D and the kind of things that they're doing, not just universities, but also centres of excellence, and not to forget the Silverstone Technology Cluster at the bottom, where motorsport is also a key element of automotive activity within the Midlands, and again a world-leading centre. In terms of what all of this translates into, here's some of the things that are happening as a result of all of that activity. The top picture here is the London Electric Vehicle Centre, which is famous, perhaps, or most famous for producing the black London taxis, but off the same platform now. They're looking to get 5 other vehicles and have now launched a van off that. You can see an electric bus which is being built in the Midlands, and also there's a representation there of what the Midlands battery factory is going to look like, and some of the work that's going on in terms of energy storage. That's on the vehicle side. On the charging side, again, there's a lot of work going on in terms of infrastructure development, companies leading that, like ZPN Energy, like Cenex, and the work that's going on to really put the Midlands at the forefront in terms of development of infrastructure. And of course, hydrogen again is an incredibly important part of the mix. Just like everywhere else in the world, hydrogen is becoming more and more important, and we're seeing more and more activity. not just being led by Jaguar Land Rover, which is one of the largest vehicle manufacturers in the region, but other elements as well, where we're seeing collaboration between industry and academia. And then the last element in terms of future mobility is connected with autonomous mobility, where we got very much a leader position on that, which is largely due to the attitude that we have to being able to test driverless vehicles on public roads, which has allowed us to very much be at the forefront of connected and autonomous mobility development. So that was a very, very quick overview of the Midlands UK and the automotive landscape. I think for me, one thing that we are very keen to develop, and we've been talking with Clout for a long time, and the key thing for me really is that we want to work more closely together. In all honesty, probably not quite sure what format that's going to take at the moment, but the intent is there, the ambition is there to do things together. And obviously, if anybody listening to this has any ideas, please get in touch. And if you want to do that, then here are our contact details. I'm David Shepherd, but also my colleagues Claudia, Alejandra, and Daphne would be more than happy to talk to you. So that's very much, as I say, a quick overview of the automotive landscape in the UK Midlands. Thanks very much for your attention.
Hi and welcome. My name is Ben Jardine. I am Vice President of Product Strategy within Arrival. Today I'm going to take you through a little bit about Arrival, who we are, what we're doing, and how we're interacting with Mexico at the moment and what our intentions are within Mexico. So for those who don't know, Arrival is an integrated transportation system. We're developing solutions for cities that help them meet their net zero emissions goals. This integrated transportation ecosystem includes vehicles, microfactories, charging infrastructure, and digital services. We see these all of our products. The first products coming to market on a zero emission electric vehicles, which is the Arrival van and the Arrival bus. These are shown to the right. All Arrival vehicles deliver an exceptional human-centered experience. So we've put a lot of work into the user experience. A lot of the problem with bus in the world today is that people don't particularly like getting a bus. So what we're trying to do is amend that, make that not a reality anymore. Our products are competitively priced with fuel fossil equivalents and provide substantial operational cost reductions also. So our lower TCO overall with a combination of CapEx and OpEx by the fact that the vehicles have been developed from the ground up. Some business highlights. So we have 4 vehicle designs expected in market by 2023. As I mentioned before, the bus and the van, but we also have a large van, and we also have a car which is dedicated to being a ride-hailing car, which of course is a growing industry in the world. We have non-binding orders and letter of intent totaling over 59,000 vehicles. We're targeting price competitive and total lower cost of ownership to fossil fuel, as mentioned before. Localized microfactories enable an agile low capex production at scale. And I'll go into what our microfactories are a little bit further down the call. We're targeting industry leading profitability enabled by proprietary hardware, software, and robotics platform. The company is heavily vertically integrated, very different to a lot of other OEMs out there that rely heavily on tier 1 suppliers with what they have in their menu. We develop and design what we want, and we then go to the tier 1 suppliers to make to print. We have over 2,000 employees in the company, of which majority are engineers, and majority of that are actually software engineers, which again makes us very unique. We have a number of patents within the company, over 200 to date, across our vehicles, software, and production process. Our leadership team has a proven track record from a variety of industries, not just automotive, and guided by a globally experienced and diverse leadership team, including board directors with backgrounds at Marvel, Hyundai, Hearst, Lyft, and Netflix. Our focus is commercial vehicles. So if we look at the van and the bus to start with, the van addressable market globally is a market at the moment, it's about $280 billion. An initial addressable market for us gives us a chance of attacking 70 billion of that addressable market with the current product alone. The same with the bus. Bus has an addressable market of 154 billion. With the current bus type that we have, That's addressing about 40 billion globally. The rise in e-commerce, of course, is going to change these figures considerably over the years, particularly the van product. We have a number of Arrival customers and partners that are working a number of key partnerships and to support our customers with. You'd have read in the press, some of you, that we have a relationship with UPS for an order of 10,000 vehicles with a potential to increase that by an additional 10,000. That's a partnership that's going globally, but focused predominantly so far on the EU and the US. We're working with LeasePlan. LeasePlan is one of the largest leasing vehicle companies in the world. And at the moment, we've focused with them with a potential, well, with an MOU for vehicles in Europe before we extend further across the world as well. And we've also announced a relationship with Anaheim for transportation network for the bus program. We also partner with First in the UK. So First is a bus operator. They're very big in the US as well, but in the UK, they are the largest bus operator. We're going into trial with First with our current bus in January 2022, so it's not far away now. We're also working closely with Uber on the car program, although this is not exclusive. And we have some big partners in the size of Microsoft and Hitachi. Microsoft for technology and for Hitachi for a more fleet as a service style model globally. So the portfolio. Arrival expects its zero emissions to have superior specifications. So there are products that we've got today that are very much suited to developed markets. They are cheaper than many other products in them developed markets, and also they're more technically advanced. Of course, for emerging markets where the products are very, very low priced and very basic, these products today are not exactly comparable, but we still see a major advantage in trying to introduce them into these markets. The bus, for example, is a 12-meter bus. We've developed this bus to be as little as 10.5 meters in length and up to 13.5 meters in length by modular 1.5 meter increments. Bus is a low floor product. It's a product that you'll see in most cities globally. So it's not a product that only gets utilized in certain markets, but it truly is a global low floor product. The product itself has modular batteries, which enables us to have multiple battery sizes that give us a range between somewhere of 240 kilometers to 400, depending on the specification of the vehicle. On average, 80 to 100 passengers would be a normal size that you'd find on a 12-meter bus. And our trials commence actually in Q1 2022, which is incorrect on this page. Our production is targeted to start in Q2 next year. The van has a range of 150 to 340 kilometers and comes in a range of all different shapes and sizes, whether it's roof height or length of the vehicle or chassis cab variants. The product that we'll launch first is what we call H3L3, and that has a range of somewhere between 150 and 340, again, depending on usage and also depending on the battery size selected. Again, we have multiples. Both the bus and the van share the same battery architecture, same batteries themselves, and actually a number of other components, which I'll come to later on in the conversation. The car, very early days at the moment, but in our development stage. We're not at a position to sort of launch any more details about the product yet. We're expecting that production to start towards the latter end of 2023. We have our own proprietary composite with the vehicles, so it's not carbon fiber, but it's a composition of glass and polypropylene. We utilize this composite in a number of different ways. One is for aesthetic panels, and the other is for semi-structural components. If you take the bus alone, we have about 300 components which are composite, and the van are about 150. So there's a lot of parts that are our own now. And these composites materials are manufactured in our microfactories, and the parts are also manufactured in turn in time against the just-in-time of the vehicles that are being produced in there as well. Benefits of the Arrival Radical New method is rapid scaling and agility. So a low capex use of existing infrastructure minimizes the cost and time to production without the need to go for large manufacturing footprint and costly welding stamping facilities. So you'll find no stamped parts in our vehicles. You won't find a lot of welding at all. Our vehicles are predominantly designed and produced using our composites, aluminium extrusion, and aluminium castings, which are a combination of gravity die cast and high pressure, only in the circumstances where we're repeating parts often on the vehicle. Rapidly scalable. So our decentralized microfactory approach model allows for simultaneous expansion into cities, countries where demand is strongest. We believe we can get a microfactory up and running within 6 months of declaring that we're going to go to a particular market. And all of the components, all of the equipment inside, in turn, is within that lead time. In addition, our microfactories don't need to be a brand new facility. We can move into existing space. So a footprint of somewhere between 20 and 30,000 square meters, depending on the project, is what we're looking for to be able to move in. So relatively low size. We don't need to have these huge sites that you see with other OEMs looking for in other areas of the world as well. Enables faster development. Arrival being a new company, of course, we're naturally going to change and reiterate. Well, the vehicles we bring out at day one won't be the final vehicles, and we won't bring out vehicles in a model year update in a more conventional way like another OEM will. We will continuously improve these products, but we have a discipline within Arrival, which is a grid-based style architecture, which means all of our components have a footprint and location and interface within the vehicles, which means that forward compatibility is absolutely a possibility for Arrival in the future. Thus, making the vehicles in Arrival a bit like a vampire and not necessarily a vehicle that you may need to replace so soon. And as I mentioned before, our vertical integration, our in-house components, our technology, our materials, our manufacturing processes, and our software enhances quality control and enables agile development response to future changes and upgrades. A new method of design and production. Arrival's new method. So first of all, we are a technology company. We started in 2015 developing technology, and we were forced in the end to develop vehicles from our technology because of the way we were so unique. So first and foremost is that we are a technology company, not an OEM that is developing its own technology. Microfactories is a product in its own right, as I've explained, low footprint, low capex, and deployment rate very fast. We have in-house and plug-and-play components. So although we do have vertically integrated components, all of these components are self-aware and self-analyzing, which means when we build our vehicles, our components know that they're meant to be within that vehicle and register them to them vehicles as well, which also means that we can upgrade them very quickly, and they are purposely designed for microfactories. We're not dealing with legacy of previous components that are out there in the market today. Our proprietary composite material is low tooling and overall cost. It's very lightweight and highly durable, and again, designed for microfactories. The process that we manufacture our composites in is not as fast as injection molding and other processes which you'll see in huge OEM factories, but it's designed and scaled to support our microfactory production, which at the moment is targeting at 10,000 vehicles for the van microfactories per year, based upon 2 shifts, and 1,000 buses based upon 2 shifts in the bus facility. Our in-house vehicle software is plug and play, complete control of user experience, and access to all vehicle data to optimize total cost of ownership. So with our vehicles having our own software, we're able to really understand every single component on that vehicle and how we should control it, and therefore how we can make that more efficient to the nth degree, which is something very unique within Arrival, and not many other OEMs can say the same as well. This is a quick image of our microfactory. We have a cell-based robotics approach. So our robots that we use, nothing new. They are a robot that's in the market today. There are robots very good that are out there today that we utilize, but we control the software for. And the reason for that is that we're able to get them the capex of the robot to a low state as well, because we're not trying to reinvent something that's not there already. Our AMR, which you see at the front there, which stands for an Arrival Mobile Robotic, we do have a number of different versions of that Arrival are also developing ourselves. We see about 100 of these AMRs running around a factory, and they work together in moving the vehicles around, parts to the different cells, and also moving logistics around the facility as well. These are our 3 microfactories that we have in place today, and we're in progress of looking for further ones and moving into further ones. We have a facility in the UK, what we call Bicester, which is in Oxfordshire. That facility is for our van, and that will come online in Q3 next year. We have Meadow Oak for van as well, which is in North Carolina. And we have Rock Hill in South Carolina for our bus factory. As you can see, very small factories when you compare this to other OEMs on the planet today. And the fact is, all of these factories were already in progress before we actually decided to move in. So none of them have been designed specifically for Arrival so far. So industry-changing microfactory approach, flexible, scalable, and local to customers. Advantage, materially lower cost, low capex, small footprint, Design, vehicle design for robo-factoring, highly scalable layout, deployed locally. So of course, one of the things with our microfactory means that we can produce vehicles for the city where the microfactory is, or for the country where the microfactory is, depending on the volume and demand within that regional market. And as I mentioned, robotics are off the shelf and controlled in-house by our own software. In-house plug-and-play components, which are modular and upgradable. We have cutting-edge hardware. Arrival focus on components that meets one or more of the following criteria: cost reduction opportunity, important to the customer experience, and modules that are plug-and-play and connected by software. To give you some ideas of the modules and items that we do have across all of our vehicles, we have the battery module, which is shared across all of our products, including the car. We have inverters. We have the same motor in our van that's also used on the bus, but we use it on the bus 4 times. We have the same inverters. We have the same HMI. We have the same IO modules. So the majority of the components that are on our vehicles are shared, which means the reason why our vehicles can be priced much lower than others is because we are truly modular and we are truly sharing them across different platforms. Metrology composite material, lightweight and durable. So the composite tooling goes from CAD data to production in 2 weeks. Very, very quick. We're not determined by legacy of having to go for complex tooling and waiting lead times of that, and basically go into a very complex and expensive manufacturing process that we may want to change fast in the future downstream. We use it for our exterior and interior on the vehicles. It allows us for bespoking the panels directly for our fleet owners. What you'll know in our microfactories, we don't actually have any painting. We don't have painting, and we don't have any undersealing or wax oiling protection areas. So our VOCs are very low. The point of this is that it means that our composite has to deal with the fact that we have different requirements from different customers. So we are bringing composites in that actually have an in-mold color. And secondly, if they don't utilize an in-mold color, we wrap the vehicles, which is very usual in the commercial vehicle industry anyway. An example of a panel that we have here is a composite panel of a front wing of a van. So you can see on the left is an arrival composite body panel, and you can see on the right of what a normal van would be using. These vehicles are commercial vehicles. They get a lot of wear and tear. They get bashed around, they get bumped around. But the advantages of arrival is that our panels can take that absorption of impact. And if they do get damaged or damaged or broken, it's very quick to repair. In fact, majority of our components on arrival vehicles are under 15 minutes service time to replace. This means that the arrival vehicle, as I mentioned before, can be a bit like a vampire. We can keep replacing panels, and actually, because they don't rot, they don't corrode, a majority of the components on the vehicle are the same in that scenario. It means that actually a vehicle can look very fresh at the end of its normal life. Also, with the addition of including extra batteries, updating batteries, and extra hardware where required, the vehicle can continue living its life. It doesn't need to be replaced in full. Digital ecosystem, enabling innovative solution. We have proprietary software systems that are the fabric of the company. We have over 500 software engineers in the company. Connectivity, everything on our vehicles are cloud connected and over the air updated. Our technology is completely self-aware with microservice architecture and open APIs. And our vehicles are autonomous ready, though in many countries we're not allowed to utilize this yet, but potentially in fleets back in the depot, that's something we can exercise upon. This basically means that we can update the vehicles and keep updating them as the customer needs to. All customers in the commercial vehicle world in particular have different needs, and their needs change over time. So we're able to go with them on that journey as well and keep updating the vehicles. Next generation electric vehicles. So here I'm going to show you a little bit in some pictures of our products. None of these products are in production today, but they are working towards production for Q2 next year for the bus and Q3 next year for the van. This is the arrival van. This is our beta version. And as you can see, very, very mature for a second version prototype within arrival. And again, the reason why we're able to do that is because we're developing so much of our components in-house and we're not reliant on typical supply chains to give us what's already available. Looking inside the van, you'll see a very simple cabin with a very simple HMI screen. Again, the user experience in this vehicle is fantastic. Singular screen, menus that only give the user what they need to see. So actually we have the same size screen in our bus and our van. Of course, the interfaces are slightly different because the bus has different duties than the van, but predominantly very similar. In fact, we use the same steering wheel in the bus as we do in the van as well. So we don't have a big steering wheel that you find in other buses. We have a small one that you see in a van. So it makes it more familiar. It's like getting into a car and arrival product rather than getting into a commercial vehicle. This van is what we call H3L3, and it's what we call our walk-in van. As you can see, it's been tailored to be a walk-in van for last mile delivery, courier types of service. We also do this vehicle in what we call cargo van, which has the more conventional door approach at the front and an empty body shell. This is the arrival bus, and this is our beta version. We've just recently launched in the last couple of days our Gamma bus, and that's been online with LinkedIn. Unfortunately, we don't have any promotional pictures to include in here yet of our Gamma bus, but you can see a journey between beta and Gamma in the fact that it's still a very modular vehicle, but we've enhanced it now. We've put more bigger screens on the outside. We have screens on the inside. We're, again, pushing the boundaries with the user interface. One of the key enablers of this bus is our low flat floor all the way through from front to rear, which is very unique in the industry. Many buses step up at the rear, which means you don't utilize the space environment for passengers as well as you can do for a low floor. It also brings full accessibility, inclusivity into the vehicle. We're not separating people by the fact that they can't climb up steps or climb into different seating positions. Everyone can get on this bus, everyone can sit where they want, everyone can stand where they want on this vehicle. Our seats are cantilever, so we make it very clean. We develop our own seats, develop our own materials for the seats. And you can see our bell pushing there isn't conventional. It's not just a red button anymore. It's something that works with the user, gives information to the user, tells when the next bus stop is happening, and it's haptic and capacitive as well. This is the arrival car, and again, we haven't got many pictures to show on this at the moment, but this car has predominantly been designed for ride hailing. It's not a car for a family of 5 and a dog, but a commercial car. So definitely companies like Uber will see this as a step forward for a vehicle that's been absolutely designed around the experience that they need to work with their users. Some interior shots, again, you'll see the similar size screen, similar steering wheel that you'll find in the bus and the van. And as I mentioned before, a lot of the components are shared across our platforms as well. So arrival, Mexico, what are we doing? We're planning for the future. So as of today, we've actually entered Mexico. We have a procurement excellence center in Mexico, where we have a small team which is growing all the time, and that is to focus on how do we increase our supply chain globally. And Mexico we see as a key hub for that. We see it as a key area for supply chain, along with some other countries in the world as well. Manuel Martinez, who you may have seen from some of the other calls over this webinar, is a person to contact on that, and his email address is there. So work with Manuel, work with him in increasing our supplier and working with our microfactory introductions. For microfactory and product introductions, my name is on there. You can contact me if you've got any inquiries, if you know of any fleets that would benefit from our vehicles, which I've shown you today. Equally, if you're interested in Arrival being in Mexico, whether that's importing in or actually positioning in a microfactory in Mexico for our bus or van, we'll be absolutely happy to hear from you and to talk that through and understand what the opportunities are further. So that's a little bit about Arrival, and I hope you found that interesting today. And any questions, please fire them across. But look forward to hopefully seeing you soon, and enjoy the rest of these webinars. Thank you very much.